Have you happened to send any emails out to anybody who's missing any of the stuff, or we'll take care of that later this week?
Yeah, I just sent a reminder yesterday, I think.
Okay.
Or
Just remind him here, I guess. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
If you're able to, as you come in, would you be so kind as to making sure that the name on there is something that we will recognize just as we get to know you? If you're able to change your names just in the participant list. I didn't hear if somebody said something.
Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and be respectful of your time and get started. My name is Melanie Adams, and I am one of your master teachers for this green architecture online class. And Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Pasarello, the other one.
Yeah, so we're going to tag team, and hopefully between the two of us, we can get you as excited about green architecture as we are. It is one of my favorite things to teach. So hopefully you'll feel the same way when you're done here, or if not, shortly thereafter. So on the calendar, on the slideshow that you see, I do have a copy, the link in chat so that you can have your own copy if you so choose. Class schedule is Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 9 Central Standard Time. And then for those of you who live elsewhere, those are the times. Everybody always puts Eastern Standard Time, and I'm super always confused. So I'm so glad I got to put Central Standard Time on there so I wasn't confused. So there you go. All right. So general meeting tips for success. So just make sure you're on camera with minimal distractions in the background so that we know that you are here and paying attention. Kelly and I are probably going to be on camera, but we will have our mics not muted. If we're talking, we both have family and pets. I have a dog that likes to bark and eat very loudly, so if you hear her, then I apologize ahead of time. Just mute your mic unless you're speaking. Some Zoom features, the chat message. If there's something that I say or Kelly says, one of us, whoever's not speaking, is usually going to be checking the chats. So if there's something that's said and you have a question, just go ahead and throw it in the chat and we'll get to that right away. Also, there's a raise your hand feature. So you can, I can't see everyone, but like I said, Kelly and I are going to tag team on this. So if I'm watching or she's watching and you raise your hand, then we will let each other know that you have a question about that. So if you want to practice the chat feature, go ahead and go in the chat and say, hey, how are you doing? So we can check that out. And then like Kelly said earlier, make sure your screen name matches up with your attendance so that we can make sure you get credit for being here. All right. All right, Kelly, you know how to do the annotate page, right?
Yes, I do. If you go up to the top under the view options and you click on, there's a, at least for me, it's up at the top, but if you can look up there for me where it says you are viewing Melanie Adams's screen, and I click on view options, and under there is an annotate. So at this point, I think what we like to usually do is to kind of come up with some kind of symbol, something, choose what you want, and just kind of annotate where you are from. So I just put one here for Charleston, South Carolina, because that is where I, well, not where I'm from, but where I currently live. So if you guys, can you all find your annotate section? And I don't know if you guys have all been using Zoom, but those of you who have and your children have had an opportunity to use this, you know they like to do it a lot if you don't stop them. Oklahoma, why is that a frown? Is that a frown? Where in Oklahoma? I always find it fascinating where people are from.
The Tulsa area.
Okay, I went to Oklahoma State, so. So sorry if that's if you're an Oklahoma person.
No.
Anyway.
All right, so lots of people on the coast, in the Midwest, a few, Texas, okay.
North Carolina. Is that Maryland or Delaware? New York City, nice.
Maryland.
That's where I was born and raised.
All right.
No Ohio State people and no Alabama people, huh? So you're not distracted by the game tonight, I guess. All right.
So this just gives us a kind of an idea of where everybody's from and kind of timelines as to what we're looking at, if where you are and what time you works for you for certain things. So, oh, we got some California. Yeah, couple. There you go. All right, cool. Sweet. So it's always interesting to see this. So everybody from all over the globe is from here. So it's always cool. Sweet. All right, well, my name is Melanie Adams. Like I mentioned, I live in Illinois, Quad Cities, Illinois. I am, oh, look at the stars, isn't that cute? I'm gonna leave it up there. I've been teaching in Sudlow for about 14, I don't even know, doesn't seem right. Since 2012, I've been teaching at Sudlow in Davenport. I've been teaching since 2006. I started in Illinois teaching language arts, and then Illinois didn't want me anymore, so I hopped across the pond and went to Davenport, started teaching business ed, which I enjoyed very much. They needed a gateway to technology teacher. I had a science endorsement, so I said, sure, go ahead. And so I did 1 year of gateway and then decided that I loved it a lot. And then they just started training me on everything. Within 3 years, I was a master teacher for design and modeling, automation and robotics, and then green architecture. So I don't have as many of the trainings under my belt as Kelly does, but I don't have that many spots in my schedule either. So I taught preschool for 20 years. I was a director in the business sector of a daycare center. So I spent a lot of time. This is basically a second career for me. I'm currently enrolled at Western Illinois University for my educational leadership degree. So I'm going back to school to be a principal of some sort. I coach freshman volleyball, junior high track and field, and I'm an athletic director at the daycare center, at this junior high. I do FTC, which COVID has kind of jacked that up this year. And then I take kids to DC and New York on their annual trip. You'll see that I am a complete Chewbacca groupie. So I have a Chewbacca tattoo. I spent all of my money just to meet Chewbacca a couple summers ago at the Project Lead the Way Summit. If you haven't gone to a Project Lead the Way Summit, you most definitely need to do that. And then these are my 2 grandkids that keep me busy on the weekend. And then that's my contact information. Please use that as you need to. And take it away, Kelly.
Well, I am Kelly Pasarello. I'm currently teaching in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, right outside of Charleston. And this is, I guess, 13 years. Like she said, I don't know about the years, but 13 years teaching middle school. I was a high school teacher for a year. I kind of was originally a science teacher and then decided when I moved to Charleston from Myrtle Beach that the job that I found was for PLTW. So I took a leap and not knowing really much at all about it, except sort of knowing one person who had taught it before, decided to give it a shot. So my first class was actually flight and space. And then I went to, I don't know, I think this might have been the second one I took maybe. So I've been teaching this class for, I guess, 7 years. Flight and space, design and modeling, green architecture, medical detect. Basically, I've teach them all except for magic of electrons and science of technology. Those are the 2 I haven't trained in yet. I have another teacher at my school who teaches those 2, plus some of them. We both teach a few of them and overlap. So I guess sorry, talking about distractions. My daughter just came home, so forgive me. I might need to go upstairs. But education, I am from Maryland originally, went to University of Maryland, University of Delaware, went to Oklahoma State University. I think I've been everywhere, it feels like. I lived in Oregon, lived in Arizona, I lived on the Navajo Reservation, and was a field hockey and lacrosse coach. But in South Carolina, they don't really have field hockey, and that's my passion for coaching. So I haven't coached in a little while, but that's a little bit about me. Probably more than you needed to know. So, and I do love football, so, you know, so the game thing, if anybody is upset about it, sorry, there's not much we can do. So.
All right, so that's a little bit about us. Just some general information and some overview. In the top corner, I have a link for you for mypltw.org. We will be going there at some point tonight. So, oops, sorry, I forgot I had a touch screen. So make sure at some point tonight, go ahead and click on that link and get yourself logged in. We will be in that sector today. We talked about attendance and active participation in the sections. It is important to come to class. There are only 6 classes because they're short and sweet and to the point. It is important not to miss any. So try not to. I am recording the session, so if dire straits, if something happens and you can't get around it, then we will have some recordings available for you. All right, so Kelly's going to go ahead and overview the blocks. We're going to go ahead and overview the blocks and the cohort connections for you and the homework assignments where you're going to find all those. And the expectations when assignments are due, and the submission forms and the expectations for the submission forms. So we're going to chat about those today too. All right, so our submission forms and the expectations. So we would like it very much if you could submit your Monday assignments. So today is block 1. So your block 1 assignment would be due by Wednesday before class. That would give us some time to give you some feedback before class, like 4 p.m. And then your Wednesday assignment, which would be block 2, for example, if you could have that to us by Friday, that way we could have the weekend to give you some feedback before the following class, before the Monday's class. Okay, so that's kind of what we're thinking for that one.
We also know that you could technically do things on the weekend, but a lot of people like their weekends and with other stuff going on. So this gives you the weekend to be free and not really be worrying about it last minute, and us being able to grade with being able to give you the most effective feedback and not just kind of rushing through just because we had the class the next day.
And the assignments they're not too terribly long. We're just asking for thorough feedback from you. So on those. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. We're also going to share when we are going to be available to you. You have our number, you have our email addresses. What we have decided is you can email and or text when you need assistance. And that would probably be the easiest way to set up a time to get with either one of us for assistance. Simply because I've done office hours and no one's ever shown up. So it would be much more efficient if you just asked directly if you needed assistance. So that's kind of how we're going to handle that. So whomever you choose to ask for assistance, perhaps, you know, you like Kelly's methods or her style better, it's fine. You know, that is 100% okay. Just chat Kelly up and say, hey, can you help me with this? And she's for sure would be able to do that for you. Tech support, tech help, I have the number here, solutioncenter@pltw.org. They're very helpful. So those of you who are having trouble with your Revit, for example, that they would be really great to help you with. I unfortunately am not all of that helpful when it comes to the software itself. So this would be your solution center for that. I've already sent them an email about someone's situation already. So, all right, so we're going to talk about some of the tools that we're going to use. Some of you have mentioned Inspire 9. I don't know about you, Kelly, but I haven't heard of that being part of this particular training. However, Revit is one that we will talk about. And I am going to share with you one that I use with my kids now because of hybrid. It's called floorplanner.com. I've kind of had to go that route because my kids have Chromebooks and they're not at school every day. So that's just another way to get around it. And we'll talk about that during class as well. Okay. So our PL2W prerequisite training, make sure you're getting that done. You will not get a certificate for the training if you don't have that done. And then we're going to go ahead and navigate through the core training on the PLTW website. We're going to talk about the teacher guides and the student guides. And the net exam. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop sharing so that we can do that. This is the community. I don't know if you guys can see this yet, but this is where we'll show you this. This is where you're going to post any of your community posts. And this is for just this class. But after your training, you will have access to the community page for all of the gateway classes. And those are really great for anybody that needs help. If you need anything as a project lead the way or a gateway teacher, you can just ask for help on the community pages and they go out to all of the gateway teachers and you get so much help from all of them. It's terrific. It really is the best way to get support from each other. It's fabulous. All right, so that's, we'll talk about that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing. Any questions so far?
Can I just get an idea of how many of you currently or already teaching GTT? Just so we can, it helps us to know if we have a lot of newbies or not. Do we have any newbies? Maybe that would be a better question. Do we have any people that are new to PLTW?
Yeah, that'd be good to know.
Okay, good. That will help us guide how we say things, and so we don't go too fast and then you're all like, wait a second. Okay, so I appreciate that. That way we can make sure we're clear on where everything is for you. And those of you who are not new to PLTW, we know you may know a lot of this, but as you can see, we do want to make sure everybody, it's hard when you're on an island by yourself, so we want to make sure nobody feels that way. So you can tune us out for a few minutes if some of the stuff is things you know, but then we want to support those who are new. So just, and any of you who, if we do go too fast for that, please please reach out and just let us know so we can make sure we help you. We may go too fast for something and then you can just tell us, hey, wait a second, I didn't understand that.
Yes, and I don't know if it's a Midwestern thing or what, but my kids tell me I talk too fast. So just, you know, if I'm doing that, just like yell at me or something. Don't yell at me. I might cry, but you know, just tell me. I'll try to slow down. All right. So Kelly, do you want to share your My PLTW or do you want me to?
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Let me just make sure I find the right page because, give me that second here, because I just had it up, but I want to make sure I show the right thing. There we go. Share. Okay. So you log into My PLTW, you should come across this page as your main page to start with. And you'll see the courses, professional development. You all probably have already done this. Under the professional development tab, which I'll go to, do you want me to go, Melanie, to professional development first, or would you like me to go to courses and then we'll go back to professional development later?
Either one. We have to go to all of them. So the courses is fine. Yeah,
Okay, we'll go back to, so most of you should have logged in already at the professional development. That's how you got to your course and got to your coursework, which, you know, we'll touch base with you a little bit more on later to make sure that everybody's done that. But under courses, that's where you're going to find all your work or all your stuff for your students and for yourself. So right under here, you'll see, of course, it's separated into the different categories. These are all the different courses that I actually teach. So you may not have that many up here. You can actually star the ones that you're teaching. So I'm teaching green architecture, so I like the teacher guide and the student guide available. I'm also actually teaching flight and space, so I unstarred that earlier today. I'm just going to fix that real quick. You can click on that and then it'll just kind of eliminate to what you just are using at the moment. Okay, so right here is your green architecture guide. And this is where your students would log in and go if you use this. And we'll talk to you about how to roster your students so they can have access to the curriculum as well. But they're going to go in through here just to be able to see all the stuff on the left-hand side. This is kind of a lot of information on general resources, privacy, blah, 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 stuff that the kids never really seem to want to look at. I actually had the very beginning when I was virtual, because I couldn't very easily show kids where to go, I used a scavenger hunt that would allow kids to look at these parts and the Chromebook guide to help them so that they could learn how to save things to their drive. So at some point, if anybody wants that, I can share that with them. Then you've got your lesson A and B, which you guys are going to be doing for homework tonight, is looking at these two, and we'll talk more about that later, but that's where you're going to find them here. And then lesson 1 is going to be the first lesson that we're going to do. You can click that open, break it down, and you'll see the different subsections, the activities. So it's broken down from lessons into the activities, okay? And then just real quick, the very beginning, you'll see that distance learning support now is added to the top of every single one. If there's something that you can't do for a distance, it'll kind of tell you up here. So every lesson now has something up here for the distance learning support and how you can do things outside of this activity, or if it's really not set up for you to be able to do it that way, okay? I'm going to go back just to show you also that there was the teacher guide right here. Same kind of thing, broken down into subsections, unit level resources, distance learning support, information for the lesson A and B, then of course the lesson 1 with answer keys and such all throughout here. Okay, so if you click on this, it'll give you some more information in here. Okay, let's go back. The other things on the PLTW, sorry, I've got that little bar across the top if you know what I mean. It's in my way. If you go back into here, your professional development tab here, you've got the store here, which we'll go to later and talk about your community here. And this is where you'll go in to do some of your work tonight, which I don't think I actually have access yet to the community. So I'm not going to be very helpful. Ours will look like the one she posted. These are from my flight and space classes that I already taught. Oh, here, I do have it. So this is the one, it's actually not loaded on my other computer that I loaded 5 minutes ago, but it's right here. So this is where you'll go into your community and do your community posts later today, which if I had had access to it, I would have given an example, but I didn't have it until just now. So you may just be getting your access as well. So that will be right in here. Go back to PLTW. And then there's other things on grants and such that we aren't going to worry about talking about right now. So, okay. Anything else that I'm missing, Melanie, on that?
So the curriculum also comes in Spanish for those of you who need it. So they do have a Spanish version for students. So that's relatively new. So if you have an English as a second language student, or you can print any of those things out for them, just to kind of help with bridge the gap, so to speak, on that. Okay. All right. All right, so all of the Project Lidui units are based on a 45-minute class period. So they may, depending on your class time, they may need to be shortened or lengthened, but most of them are pretty flexible that way. All right. Okay, I'm just making sure we covered everything. Okay, so
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me go back. I was going to go into the block and show about the block. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I knew I forgot something. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so back under courses, because I showed you where all the student work was, but you need to know where all your stuff is for every day. If you go back in, sorry, I'm not sure why my internet's being so incredibly slow right now. I'll go back to this one. There we go, it's already open. So if I scroll down in here, I don't want my starred one, sorry. If I go down in here to Green Architecture Core Training, you all should have that Green Architecture Core Training. It's blue, so it looks different from everything else. You go down into your core training and you can, by the way, you can scroll down here and all of the block information is down here, or you can go over to the left and you can find the same information over here to the left. It doesn't matter which way you get there, either way you're getting there. Okay, so what we did today is, we kind of started off with just talking a little bit about this. So we go into cohort connection. That was your overview. We already did this part, so this kind of is going through basically what we're doing. Now, there's a lot more in here than just the map, so that's what we're still going through. But every time we do anything, it's really going to be based out of this. So in a little bit, we'll do a breakout group, then we'll get back together to the whole group, then we'll have your breakout group again at the end of the evening, and then you go to It's Your Turn. So then It's Your Turn is over here, and this is where you'll find your homework for tonight. Before we go, of course, we're going to summarize this and give you an explanation, because this, if you just look at this, looks really, really long, okay? So we'll go over that and summarize for you what you need to do so you don't feel like it's a lot more than you have time for between now and Wednesday, because we do understand that you're all working as professional teachers and it's a crazy year, so we will try to make things short and simple and sweet as best as we can. So does everybody know where to find that? Everybody okay with that? Comfortable with where to go? It's under courses under the PLTW once you log in. Okay.
There we go.
Any questions so far? Everybody doing okay?
Okay. So then under my PLTW, under your professional development, you would find your resume track, which is where your submission items are. So then this is where you went to get your prereqs are here. So if these have to say completed, otherwise you're not going to be able to get your certificate. So all of these must say complete in order to get your certificate. When you go to your core training credential track, at the top up here, sometimes there is a daily survey. Sometimes there's just going to be a final survey. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Also, you might need to, just make sure I'm in the right one. I don't know if I'm in the right one. You're going to need to download all of your files. Now, I do have these for you at the end of this particular slideshow. Regardless of that, you need to click on the files and download them. I would recommend putting them all in the same place, or putting them all in a safe place. That way you have them. You can upload them as a Google Doc if you have Google Drive. That way you can use them from everywhere. However, when you are uploading them, you go to My Files and you file upload. It has to be a Word doc. Otherwise, we won't be able to give you feedback. Okay, so it can't be a PDF. Well, it could technically, but it can't be. They prefer not to see a PDF or any other type of file. It has to be a Word file. We don't want a link to your Google Doc. That won't work. Okay, so you're gonna put in the link to, or the Word doc here, and then hit submit. And then that's gonna give you your file name, who the owner is, and the date. And then what will happen is it'll show here, it'll show in review. And then when we look at it, it will either show completed or help me out here, Kelly. Completed or review necessary, something like that. It's been a minute, I apologize. Review necessary or something like that. So if it's completed, then you're good. You don't have to look at it. If it says review,
Pending review or no?
review required.
It might be review required. It's hard to
Something.
remember. It won't say complete. So we do have we do have a question. Can you back out again and re-enter into here, because
Sure.
not everybody's quite sure on how you got into this.
Sure.
Thank you.
This scares me. I personally don't use my PLC paper very often, just because it doesn't always like me. So did you guys see how I did that? I'm sorry. I'm super. I'm sorry. It's just
You
like,
just go under the professional development circle, like next to courses.
yeah. So I just hit professional development. I've been doing this a long time, so it's kind of second nature. So
I think if we send something back, Samantha, it will say something else. And I think that's what she's also referring to, that if we send something back that it's not completed because something's missing or there's an error, then it'll say something else as well. There'll be something, a third term. But if you see something that's not saying in review, look at it. It's either, if it says in review or completed, you're fine. If it says something else, take a look and see, and we'll have given you comments. Yes, we will show you how to do naming the file in a specific way, Tanner. Thank you at the end, or later on we'll show you. We have a slide to explain that. But yes, we do, please, with your name in it.
yes. So every single one of these has to say in progress. Okay, so you have to like click on all of them, whether you download them or use mine. It's up to you, but they all have to say in progress, and you have to at some point or another. And so there's 6 submissions. So you're just clicking on them, downloading them, putting them aside. And then when you go to save them, so for example, if I want to save it as a Google Doc, that's fine as long as you change it. So I don't know if you want to, if we know how many are Google. Is everybody in here a Google fan?
I do both.
You do both.
Well,
So,
I mean, I only do PLT, I mean, Word for this kind of stuff right now because everything else has gone Google, so.
yeah. So if I
Unfortunately.
do, okay, so for example, I save this right now as a Google Drive, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this right here, easy peasy. So I'm going to change it to Adams submission, or I could do, what do we want to do? Submission 1. Okay. And then I'm going to go to, I'm going to fill it in. So obviously you're going to replace this text with your response. I personally, I don't know how Kelly feels about this, but I personally would love it if you change the font color so that I know that I'm looking at your response and not something else. But that, you know, I'm weird that way. I have OCD. Okay, so that's just me. On this one, you have to give me a picture of every single page on your homework. And then Kelly and I have decided that optional is not an optional. Optional is we want to know. Inquiring minds want to know about
Yeah,
your
that's
information.
our best way to help you. This question at the end for every single one that says optional is really important for us to guide what we're going to do for the next course, to be able to make sure we answer questions.
Yeah.
So it says optional, but I think it's silly that PLTW said optional for one of the most important questions. So we kind of would really, 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 really like you to use that one to help us, please.
Even if you said Melanie needs to slow the heck down, that's, you know, that's important information. Okay. So, right. Okay. So that's all there is to this one. And then what I would do, so I'm saving all my stuff as a Google Drive. That way I can do it from work. I can do it from home. I can do it wherever I want. And then I'm going to go to File and then download as a Word doc. Download it as a Word doc. And then I'm going to go back to my net exam. I wonder if it will let me because it's not mine. But I'm going to file upload. Maybe it will. That would be weird. Look at that. There it is. Participant submission.
And then right there under that, when you see something else, if you click on that, you'll see, you'll be able to reopen it. So if you click on that and we have typed something back, you'll see a document below that. You can open that up and look and see what the response was to
Yep.
what, if there's anything, if you have anything.
Yep. So
Can you show where they download the documents again as well? Because there was a question in here about that a little bit ago.
about clicking and downloading.
Yeah, where they get it from originally. Like
Right
where
here.
they get the block form, right?
Right there. So right here it says MS Word, right there. So those of you using a Mac, I'm not sure how that's going to work out for you.
It's hard for us to answer that because I personally have never taught PLTW with a Mac, just because everything's been so word-based. I'm sure that I know that there's a way to do it. I'm just not sure. I think you can convert it and still save it as a Word with the extension.
Yeah, I think there is
Maybe
an
there's somebody else
extension.
in class that may know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions with this one?
If worse comes to worse, work with us and we'll help you. Okay. So we'll figure it out. If you can't figure out how to get the document uploaded, just communicate with us and we will help you, or we'll figure it out with PLTW.
Okay. All right. So I think we got everything on that part.
It's a lot of not very green architecture-y stuff to start with. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just housekeeping that has to be done. So we're going to start with a breakout room. And in the breakout room, I would like it if we could do a couple of things. We're going to introduce, so I want you to have a look at the measuring practice 1.1 in my PLTW in the breakout room, and then just kind of think about, so in the PowerPoints, I've given you resources for Melanie. These are things that I use in my classroom. These are slideshows and worksheets that I've created from Project Lead the Way. They are Project Lead the Way based. They're exactly the same things you're going to get from the MyPLTW website. I just created them in Google easy, friendly terms. So you are welcome to open those and make a copy for yourself and use those if you'd like, okay? So what we're gonna do in our breakout room, we're going to read through the 1.1 measuring practice and the activity 1.1 answer key. And then you're gonna discuss ideas for how you think this activity is best facilitated with kids. And then on the community post, if you have access right now, you're gonna see what different and creative ways you could, activity 1.1 could be completed, and then post your response in the community. So that is what we're going to do.
That's a group response. So just make sure all your names are on that response. It doesn't have to be
Kelly and Melanie.
Yes.
So this is Ryan Litticoat talking. Me, Adam Gormley, and Travis Stewart all teach together, and we'd like to request if we could be in the same breakout room.
Yeah, so for today, I'm probably gonna just do random so we can get to know each other, but there is in this slide 11, I have a sign up for breakout groups if you have a preference. So if you click on that link, that's going to give me that exact information that you just shared with me.
Okay.
That way going forward, when we do actual work that you're gonna need to do outside of class, then you guys can work together. Okay. So if anyone else in class does actually work in tandem with anyone else, use that breakout group sign up sheet that's linked there and just share that information. Just put those names in those groups. That way I know going forward who to put with whom. All right. Any questions on what you're gonna do with your breakout room?
How long? Oh, 20 minutes. Okay.
20 minutes. And then while you're in there, just make sure you introduce yourselves to each other, right? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'm just, for today, for this one, I'm just gonna do a
Can
random.
you share the presentation link in there again one more time? Because not everybody was in when that was posted, please.
Yep,
Thank you.
there you go. I'm having a hot flash. 50 is it? I'm not there yet, but it sucks. Okay.
Yeah, did you post the link? I didn't see it come up before everybody goes. Oh, I don't see it. What am I not seeing things?
It's in the chat.
Samantha, did you get it?
Oh, it went to Zach. Hang on.
There it goes. Oh, thank you, Zach. Zach got it. Hopefully that person didn't leave that asked for it. Thank you for sharing that. I do have a question from somebody for you that for us that I want to ask you once they're all 1.1 core training. Oh darn.
This is 1.1 in the student version or core training?
You know, you put me in a breakout room too, just so you know.
Oh, you don't have to.
I just meant in case somebody else wants to go, in case they don't have enough people. Is Miss Walters there? She messaged me a question, and I don't know if she's waiting for the answer or if she's already.
Oh, she's still here.
But I don't know if she's here or if she's away for a moment. Guess she's not here. Miss Walters had asked about downloading Autodesk Standalone, and said, "Do I download the Autodesk Standalone?" And I'm not sure what that is. Do you know what that is?
No.
I just said I just downloaded Revit and Inventor for DM. I didn't download anything else Autodesk.
No, I'll have to look. I will check that out.
Okay.
I almost forgot to do that.
What was somebody just holding up there? What was that? Was that Tanner? Was that you? No, somebody was just holding something up to the camera.
Okay, so I think for the most part, everyone is cool with just keeping on. If you need to take a break at any point, just, go ahead and do that. We're all adults here. You need to get up and go. This isn't school. You don't have to hold it for 2 hours, like, the bladder of steel and all that good jazz. So do what you got to do. Again, this is the link for the sign up. If you have a preference for breakout rooms, or if you have a preference for people you'd like to work with, go ahead and click on that and use that. If you don't have a preference, then you don't have to bother with it. We'll figure it out. Okay. All right. So there are some things we need to go back to on the Project Lead the Way website. So hopefully we will remember to do that. So right now we're going to just go ahead and debrief. I do have a link here for if you want to just if we want to take some notes, there's a link that I've shared. Hopefully I have it. It won't let me look at it. Can you guys click on that or not? I don't know. We don't have to do it. It's fine. It's just basically we can put some notes in there. What facilitation ideas did you have for completing activity 1.1 with students, and some common misconceptions related to activity 1.1? I know personally, I do 1.1 as I call it my cheat sheet. It is the cheat codes for the rest of class. So I personally, when I do activity 1.1, I make sure that my kids know that it is the groundwork. It is the foundation for the rest of the stuff that we do in class, so that if they don't get it, then we're kind of in trouble. So even when we were doing hybrid and online stuff, we did it together. So I do 1.1 with my kids together. And then the only thing, like, I skipped, because we were hybrid, I skipped the measuring part. Normally I do that in my class. I get the tape measures out and I have the whole little talk about safety with the tape measures. And if you don't want a Band-Aid on your thumb because the tape measure cut your finger, don't do this, that sort of thing. So normally this is the most fun that they have, because it's day one. They've got a tape measure in their hand, they're up moving around. So that's what my kids really like this activity, for that particular reason. So misconceptions, a lot of the kids don't know how to read a ruler or a tape measure. Some kids don't even know that there's 12 inches in a foot, or in an inch, you know what I mean, in a foot. So that's kind of, what do you guys do? I'm going to open this up for conversation. Anything you guys came up with that's fantastic?
I'll share since no one wants to. We discussed one of the students that were on the group with myself was a colleague, and we work in New York City. We know our kids have not even seen a tape measure before or have any idea what it is. But we mentioned that we had discussed with two of the other partners that were in our group. They had some familiarity with the program. They said that the math was pretty extensive, clearly, in this, this baseline lesson. So we talked about maybe breaking up the math into groups, so the groups can then share. They can work on one or two of these on their own, so that they're working in a smaller group and not doing them all by themselves. Then it's just like math for 45 minutes by yourself. And this way it's kind of like chunked and then shared out, so they can kind of see what their partners did, and then kind of test them each day as they come in, or quiz them as they come through, exit tickets, admit slips, things like that, to kind of just instill that math every day.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have a constructive, any other ideas? We have a lot of construction in our area, so I will refer to the signs The construction site. We have some bridge eating trucks, some truck eating bridges. Yeah, I said that wrong. We have some truck eating bridges. So we talk about the numbers that are associated with those truck eating bridges and the architectural notation that goes along with those. So I personally love the class because it applies directly and immediately to their environment for those reasons. So I like to point out anything in their environment that they see between here and school that goes with what we're talking about in class. So yeah, those are good. Okay. So I know it's a lot of math, and my kids always tell me, Miss Adams, this is not math class. And that's like what they tell me every single day. And I said, it's STEM, and there is an M in STEM, and that stands for math. So deal with it. That's the conversation I have probably once a month with my 8th graders, who I do this class with. That's super fun. Totally love that. Anyways, okay, so misconception. Basically, for me personally, if you don't hit the very first assignment hard about correct notations, correct the way you need to see inches and feet with the hyphen in between, you're gonna have some sloppy accounting later on. I make sure I say naked numbers, because I have 8th graders with this one and they like oh, she said naked. So I say no naked numbers, so nothing is standing out there. So I just kind of try to make it fun, and they seem to enjoy it. All right, I call it a cheat sheet. So they think they're getting all the answers, but we refer to it on a regular. So that's my thing about that one.
With that one, I kind of step it out where they do, like this year we couldn't do the measuring around, but they could do all the independent parts. But we actually make sure, thank you, that I make sure that they go through and they all are answering them, and they all pretty much get 100, because I want them to all have 100 on this, because then I know that they understand what I'm looking for. So I don't just give it to them, grade it, and return it. I give it to them, I check, I give them feedback. I mean, so this doesn't take a one-day thing, which we'll talk about the pacing guide again in a few minutes. But it's not a one-day thing, because I definitely, like she said, it's such a foundation that that I want to make sure that they really have a good understanding. So I kind of follow that same path as what Melanie was saying, of making sure they have to understand how important that part is. And then I also have them write down in their PLT engineering notebooks that their chart that has the decimal conversion, the inches to decimal conversion.
Yeah, we definitely refer to that chart probably for the first 5 or 6 assignments. Actually, almost all of the assignments. Even we just did reading a floor plan, and I talked to the kids about their area, and I'm like, okay, it's 6 feet 8 inches times 6 feet 9 inches. What do you got to do to that? And they're like, okay, let's go back to that. So yeah, this is the foundational. This is super important to hit. They don't get it, stay until they do. It's important. Or you're going to hit it again and again and again. They're going to get tired of it, but it's important they get it. So the architectural measurement is the next one, and we're hoping that all of you have an architectural scale ruler. I have mine here. I don't have mine. This is mine in my fancy schmancy case. Everyone should have one. If you don't, we need to know so that we can figure something out.
Did PLTW send you all one or anything, or have you get one?
Yeah, we weren't sure about that.
They should.
They say no.
They said no. A lot of them said no. Can I have an idea of how many do have one?
Can you hold yours up again?
Okay, yeah, no, and a lot of people are home and they haven't been able to go back to school yet.
The boxes at school just had a water bottle and a bag in it. No or anything.
That's not good. Sorry. Did I say that out loud? That's not my particular favorite thing to hear.
Would we be able to use the emergency one that you showed us that we made?
Oh. What?
Yeah, there's a link to it on there too.
Yeah,
Oh,
was
yeah,
in
yeah.
our-
that's what they want you to use. Probably.
It was in our prerequisite training. Is that the one you're talking about?
And then they also
Oh.
have a
Yeah.
1/4 inch that we could take, that we could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Does
bet
it
you
have it at
that's,
the end. Yeah, that's what they want you to do.
I
Okay.
bet
in this one, and they're
That
pretty
was the
close.
solution. So that's a new solution. Hey, you know what? Give them some points for creativity. That's a good idea. If they can't send you one, I would get one when you can, because it's going to help. But at least you have something that you can use for this, and that should work.
yeah, that'll work. These are pretty handy. They're pretty cool. You can get them on Amazon. They're $15 or so, depending on the caliber. Some 10 to 15. How much have you gotten them for, Kelly?
I don't know. I feel like they were packs of 4 or 5 for around something like that. But I think I got mine through the PLTW site.
Oh
So-
no, I don't shop there. That costs too much.
Well, sometimes it depends on. I get Perkins funding, and for us it's easier. And we'll talk about all that financing and that purchasing and all that stuff later. But Perkins funding makes it that I just do what's going to be easiest for the district and not worry about the cost. I know that's terrible. Not for certain things. But anyway, you can find through Amazon. You can find them through other parties as well. But
Okay. So you guys have a makeshift one that you can use. That's good. So you'll need that for the assignment. So the architectural measurement tool, you do that after you do 1.1. And then this one takes me a little bit of time because I personally I'm over their shoulder, showing them how to use it. I use my dock camera and I kind of demonstrate quite a lot for them. I have 3 videos that I put up so that they can see how to do it. It's like a complete foreign language to them. Some of them don't even know how to read a ruler, and I'm asking them to read an architectural scale. Some of them get it right away, and some of them suffer a lot. So there is so that's the next activity I do. Again, have a worksheet and a slideshow for what I have used in my classroom that you are welcome to look at. My slideshow probably has videos for you. There is a ruler game for those kiddos that need help with the ruler activity, and then architectural scale, how to use that, and then how to use an engineer scale. So one thing that I was told by an engineer that there is a difference between an engineer scale and an architect scale. The color scheme is different. So I don't know if you'd noticed, I asked this question, I was in an engineering college, and this, I can't see my face in the screen here. So this one says architect scale. I don't know if you can see that. But some of them say engineer scale, and they're just a little bit different. So just keep in mind, if you're looking for a scale ruler, an architect scale and an engineer scale look exactly the same, but there's a little bit of a difference. And architects and engineers apparently don't like to share their scale rulers. I learned that firsthand from an engineer. Okay. So,
Travis, you were talking about how they have the hook and everything. Design and modeling, flight and space, medical detectives have all reorganized their curriculum so that they do everything where it kind of has almost like a storyline where you start with this and then it kind of flows through and then it goes through all the stuff and then it has an end project. They're remodeling a lot of the gateway courses. And as they do that, they're switching it to that kind of whole setup. So this isn't really designed with that kind of same hook in mind. So
Not
that's why
yet.
you're not seeing it. So it will change probably in the next couple of years. I think energy in the environment is changing soon. So they're just they have to take some time to cycle through which ones they change. So I will let you know. Yeah. But honestly, them going around and measuring that first day, because it's hands-on, they do have fun with it. So they may not have fun with 1.2 or parts of 1.1, but they really like it, anything that they can do hands-on where they're walking around the room. So you wouldn't think they'd like measuring, but they actually seem to like it. So
Yeah, and like we said, like, you know, like you said, a lot of kids have never seen a tape measure before. And I personally love to empower my girls, especially. I don't normally get a lot of girls in my class. And I tell my girls all the time, I'm like, you don't want to have to depend on a future husband or boyfriend to do any of this for yourself. You need to be able to know how to do these things for yourself. So, you know, because we do a lot of hands-on, like hammer and nails and that sort of thing in this class as well. So, you know, my kids love this class. I teach robotics to the 8th graders, and then I turn around and I teach architecture. And I think I get more out of them for architecture actually than I do with my robotics, believe it or not. So I might just because I like it more, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so here's the principle, probably the one that you have. And then there is collaboration partners for It's Your Turn. So that's another link for you, collaboration partners for the It's Your Turn part. If you could sign up for that, for the teams. And then that's for the document sharing, collaboration tools. You can do any of these things when you're doing that assignment. This is just a picture, the container that I keep my architectural scales in. And this is a picture of my attempt to teach my kids architectural scales from home. If they had a regular ruler at home, I wanted to show them the difference between the regular ruler and the scale ruler. And then, yeah, so I also have a safety video for my architectural scales. My kids like to beat them on the table like a drumstick, and that will break the teeth, the side on it. So just a heads up on that one. Okay. Oh, there's
my husband took one dog out for a walk and not the other, so he is freaking out. My husband just had his both hips replaced in the last couple months, so he's only taking one dog at a time. So this one's going nuts. Anyway, I was going to say something about the scales. Be patient with yourselves on learning the scales, especially because we're not there to be able to show you as easily hands-on. So as you go through the activity with this, take some time, you might want to look at some videos. If you need a little extra support because you're confused, reach out to us because we will do our best to help you understand how to use them, because there are lots of scales that are involved in the assignment 1.2. It's not just like, okay, learn how to use a 1/4-inch scale, but it's like every scale on that ruler. So, and it's hard for the kids, but if for you to best be helping the kids, make sure you have a good understanding. So don't let that pass you by, the opportunity to reach out to any of us here that understand, even if it's another student in the class who gets a good understanding of it. Just reach out, because I want to make sure before this class is over that you do understand how to use those, even if it means spending a little extra time where, you know, I can set up a camera and try to show you or things like that, or Melanie or anything, so we can do our best from afar to show that. I think that's one of the hardest things about this class. There isn't a 3/4-inch scale, at least on the rulers I have. But yes, they had a 3/4-inch scale. There's the 3-inch scale, a 1-inch scale, 1.5-inch scale. There's a lot of scales that they go through in this next assignment that you'll see. Sorry to
You say
interrupt,
there
Melanie.
isn't a 3/4 scale?
I believe there is. There
There
is.
Okay.
It's one of the ones that they have to learn.
Yeah. When I feel what's the word? When I feel sorry for my kids, I skip some of them simply because talking to engineers and talking to architects, they've told me the ones that they don't ever use in real world, and those are the ones that I shy away from. But there is a project at the end that you can teach the kids to scale down and then scale up again. So it's really good practice that they know how to scale up and scale down, just in case they want to make something small bigger and vice versa. So like if you later on, I'm getting ahead of myself, but if you make the shed and you just don't want to make it again and again and again, but you want to leave it up, you have the option of leaving it up and having your kids measure it and then scaling it down, and then that way, and then they could scale it up and make a big shed if you have the capability of doing that. So there's a lot of different options for scaling projects that way. Okay, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna collaborate with a group. And 1.2, you're gonna use the collaboration tool that you guys decide on. So a Google Doc or whatever. I think that this is to help you do the submission for activity 1.2. So you're going to, there are, I believe, 3 pages in activity 1.2. Maybe 4. It's been a minute since I've seen it. And then you're going to take pictures of all 3. Okay. So you're going to take pictures of all 3 pages, and all 3 pages have to be submitted. So basically you're collaborating, you're helping each other with the assignment. You're doing your own work, but you're helping each other with the measurement. Okay. And then obviously the optional isn't optional. We're not giving you an option. We want your opinion on that.
I know we have some people who do not have printer access at the moment. So the only thing I can think of is if you make it like an online, like a PDF, if you have Cami or anything like that, where you can do it online and then try to, the problem is you have to make it 100% size and then try to do it and then write on it and then just screenshot it would be one suggestion, or seeing if you have a friend or anything who has a printer that you can do. Like I would tell kids, do you have a friend? So that's going to be the hardest thing to do. We'll show you where to find activity 1.2 in a second. And yeah, in the community website, sometimes that happens and some people are a little bit behind. Like the PLTW, it sometimes takes some time for it to click in. So you may have to keep trying the community. It'll eventually work. If it doesn't right away, just hold it, have ready what you want to post and then post it in a little while.
Hey, I've got a quick question. How much, I guess over the course of this core training, how much will we be expected to print materials like an architect scale, whatnot, for myself personally, so that I'm not running back and forth to school and whatnot? That'd be helpful to know as soon as possible.
The measuring assignments, there are a couple, the very first few measuring assignments, it'll be easier to do on paper than on the computer. So like the architectural dimensions, let me look ahead while you guys are working on this one and I'll let you know.
Yeah, if you guys could compile a list, that'd be, I think, helpful for a bunch of us.
Yeah, because I know that one for sure, you need to have a paper in front of you to do that one, for sure. Yeah, so like this one, so when I print, because I have class copies, so future reference, I have class copies, and I just kind of have them in a sheet protector, and then I take them back at the end. So I do this one, I print this one, and I print 1.3.
Yeah, I have that one laminated too. And then
Yeah, and then I'm trying to, hang on, I need to see my.
we have to see what you have to turn in exactly too.
Yeah,
Not
let's
just
look
what
and
kids
see.
would turn in.
Yeah, we'll look into that and we'll let you know. right away. But if you look at, for tonight's, for right now, what we're doing in the next breakout, and I want to give you guys time to talk to each other. I'm running out of time. So right here is the PL, there's a link to the Inkling right here. And then also the assignment is basically my worksheet right here. So if you click on that, that's the PLTW worksheet as well. So you can go on either place and find what you need for the assignment.
Before, because this is part of their homework, right? 1.2, this is the part they do together, and then they, you know, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's your turn. So before we go into that too, before we break out and
Yes.
all that, I want to go back real quick and show the pacing guide and everything.
Yep. Let me stop sharing so you can.
Okay. And then I can also open right up into the It's Your Turn if you want, if that works for you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so going back real quick into here, if you go into the teacher guide, I'm just going to go back. You go back into the teacher guide for flight and space. Okay. If you go under, again, like we said, there's distance learning support, update training, resources, etc. This is flight and space. That's why I was like, there's no update training in this one. Sorry. I don't know why I clicked on flight and space. Probably because I teach that every day. Green architecture. Sorry about that. I was like, what are they doing? Update training. Hold on. Don't throw me off here. Sorry. Okay, go back in here. Unit level resources, distance learning support. Then you have lesson A and B, architectural basics. Okay, if you go into here and you'll see that we have the teacher notes. Okay, and then you see all these these are all just tips and information in the beginning. So as you scroll down here, this is just general support for each one. If you continue to scroll down on the left, you'll see the teacher resources and day-by-day plans. So teacher resources, this is where you're going to find your essential questions, knowledge and skills, understanding some of the questions that if you have to, when you're planning your lessons, if you're admins or anything, look for any of that kind of information. This is where you can find a bunch of that. And we'll show you more about where some of the others are. There's a lot of the downloads and the worksheets that you would need to potentially look at using. Okay. Some of these are just downloads, which as we go through, they're linked in here, but there are also other places where they're linked. So they're not only here, but there also is a crossword puzzle here. There's a quiz here with an answer key. Okay. And then if you continue scrolling down, it tells you about how long to prepare for each assignment. So here's where you're going to find your day 1 and 2, day 3. This is what you could be doing. So step by step, day by day. I always find that they assume kids are a lot quicker at understanding than my kids tend to be. So I take it with a grain of salt when it says 1 to 2 days. And sometimes I think it's 2 to 3 days, depending on which assignment you're doing. So just keep in mind, it's just a general guideline. I like to take a little longer so that there's no way in my mind that they can do 1, 2, and 3 in 2 days. There is no way. It's like day 1 to 2 is going to be just one thing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not great, but it at least gives you some general idea of how long to take. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you knew where to find that. And that is again on the left under the teacher resources under lesson 1, if you scroll all the way down. And then you'll have your answer key for activity 1.1, activity 1.2, activity 1.3. Okay, and then you'll find the same thing when you go into lesson 2, etc. So I just want to make sure everybody knew where to go for that, especially tonight if you're trying to really understand how to do lesson 1.2 and how to do the architectural scales and making sure that you're doing them, correctly, working together. Okay, any questions about that part? Okay, so then going into the It's Your Turn under the core training. Block 1, It's Your Turn. And I don't know, Melanie, if you want me to just go ahead and start talking about it or if you wanted to, but
Oh, go ahead.
The first thing I'll say is they want you to go into the community, introduce yourself. So a professional introduction. So everybody should individually be going in and answering this. So this is your community post right here. So everybody should be looking at this to know what your homework is tonight at some point is the It's Your Turn, the community post. They do want you to put your little hashtags in there. So please put your little hashtag at professional intro. Okay, and then just talk about who you are. Sorry for that being in the way. Then it talks about the teacher guide and just kind of what we were talking to about, you know, this is telling you, you know, you can click this, by the way, and it'll link you right to where you need to go. Oh, I did not mean to actually click it, but it will take you to where you need to go. It talks about all these different sections like the notebook, which I'm going to find some, for those of you who want to do a digital notebook, you can look at doing a digital notebook. And I have some resources that I can share with you for how to do a digital notebook. I use a physical notebook because with them, they're drawing something. So even if you have kids get graph paper, if that's something they're able to get if they're at home, or print off quadrile quarter-inch graph paper. So if you just scroll through all of here, this is the part you can do independently. Lesson A, which if you remember where I was showing you over, that's the teacher. Sorry, I'm not back in the student version right now. In the student version, though, if you go under on the left-hand side, you'll see lesson A and lesson B. So individually, when you have a chance for yourself, you're going to want to go into lesson A and lesson B, and that's going to be one of your submission items on the Word document that you have to turn in. Then it goes into the notebook, and it talks about the notebook and how you can use your notebook. Okay, and then you go into activity 1.2, and this is the one that we definitely suggest you do as a group. So we wanted to end class tonight with you having the time to do this, or to talk a time that you guys are going to be able to meet if there's any time for you guys to work together to work on this. Okay, so you can look at these right here for the architect scales, which you already have done. Okay, so this is for you to check, and then you have your submit your photos, as Melanie said earlier, and then of course your submission item here. So the photos and this all goes on that document. Okay, so that is, it does seem like a lot. It's really just a community post and then the document. You just need to look over sections, lesson A and B on the student version. Any questions about that? Melanie, anything I didn't add to that? I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to work, so I don't know if I missed anything.
For sure. Kind of lost my place there. Sorry, I was looking at the breakout groups for the next. Okay.
I also realized for attendance, I needed to check something. Is William Stevens in here? And then there's one other person that I need to see if they're here. I think my thing's asleep. Great. Never mind. It's not working right now. Anyway, go ahead if you have anything.
Okay, so talked about the It's Your Turn, right? And the homework.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna so you know what your homework is, and you know the architectural measurement is part of that, and then the personal reflection, and then what I have, let me share.
Mary Reed, by the way, real quick. Mary Reed, is there a Mary Reed here? Okay, sorry, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So what I'm gonna do, I just wanted to show you this. These are all the blocks, these are all the assignments, so that if you ever misplace yours, they are here, they're linked here. Okay, so these must be submitted as a Word document, just as a reminder. Please be sure that your name is on them. So, because we open a lot of them, they might get mixed up otherwise. And then we're looking for complete answers. Even the optional ones, we're all adults, we're all, in some cases, this could be considered a grad class. So looking for that level of professionalism when we're looking at the answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into breakout groups. I have used this sheet because my other one seems to be messed up. So I'm what we're going to do is I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. And then if you didn't have a preference, I'm just going to random and then write your names down as to where I've put you. I've had 6 people give me their preferences. So I'm gonna honor that. And then everyone else seems to be okay with whomever. When you're finished, if you have questions, come on back, say hey. When you're finished with your group, you are welcome to go. Does that sound like a plan, Kelly?
Yep, I just had put in the chat group, please try to use like first name, last name, and then block 1 submission so we know what you're turning in and who you are.
There you go.
Please.
Okay. So in your breakout room, you are working on 1.2 together. And when you feel like you are good, then you are welcome to go, and I will.
Do you know how to find where block 2, I mean, where 1.2 is? Does everybody know how to find it? And if somebody in your group that's in your breakout room does not, if you guys could help make sure those people are supported. If not, just send them back here and we'll guide them.
It's just the 3 pages, right? A, B, and C for the measurements. That's what we're printing, like this?
Yeah, so it should be, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And there's a chart on the back, on the last one, correct?
This?
Yep, perfect. I don't think of it as ABC, sorry. In my head, I'm visualizing the form. Thank you. And it's very important when I do that with the kids, by the way, when you look at the front page, it's a regular ruler and kids are always trying to use an architect scale for that first page. That first page is just a regular ruler.
That's true.
So it's a huge, once they've also learned how to use a scale, then they always do that page wrong. It's like they go back and I'm getting like 1 foot 3 inches. I'm like, this is asking you how many literally to the nearest inch. And so it should be like 0 foot 3 inches. So I have them write it in architectural notation as well on that, because that's what their skill that they're practicing. So 0 feet dash 3 inches, 0 feet dash 2 inches for that one. But I mean, you guys, obviously there's flexibility if you don't want to make them do that. Anyway, everybody good? Sounds like they're good. So then, yeah, if you guys don't have anything that you need after you go into your breakout groups and work, if you guys decide to meet at a different time because that's what you guys choose, that's up to you. It's still due hopefully by around 4 o'clock Eastern time. I'd like to be able to get them graded Wednesday so I can get feedback to you on time. Or Melanie and I, not just me. So,
yes, I'll
have a good night. Yeah, I know. I'll cover you on the weekend so you can do grandbabies.
Oh my God.
How old are they?
5 and 14.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So Bobby, you had a question, right? Okay. And are you able to,
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Yes, I had a question. I don't know how to navigate. My computer's like totally slow.
Okay.
And I need help. Hold on. My computer's not even working. I'm gonna show my video. Is my video on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so far so good. So I don't know what to download. I don't know how to navigate. So I need like, I guess one-on-one help for that.
This
Sorry.
is your first class you've taken?
Yes.
Okay. Understand. So did you, you know how to get into the courses?
Yes.
Like courses. Okay. So under courses, you found green architecture, English.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of what you're going to look for is on that one under courses, I'm going to show you that real quick. You're going to go into the courses and you'll see the student edition right here.
Yes.
Right there. Okay.
So I click register?
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
Do I click register to get into where you just got into?
You should already have a login for PLTW, right?
Yes, I logged in.
Okay, so you're in here, and do you see this one like mine, green architecture? Under courses?
It says track, like view track. Like how do
Okay.
you get there?
Okay, so you're in, okay, so I think you're in, what's it called? The professional development, the training, net exam and stuff or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. I was just showing you where the work is. Okay.
Where is that?
Okay, so if you go into PLTW, let me just kind of go back. I'm going to kind of start back here. PLTW.org. Can you see my screen at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, and then I clicked on my login. And then slowly, it hopefully loads in one of these days. Sorry,
It's okay. It's all right.
of course it kicks me out. Okay, sign in. Then I'm going to click over here on courses when it pops up. Okay.
Okay, courses.
So you had clicked on what you probably are in is professional development, which you'll need also. But under courses right here, if you go under green architecture, the student version,
Yes.
on the left, scrolling down, lesson A and B is what you have to read.
Okay.
Lesson 1 and then 1.2 is the assignment that they're following. However,
yes.
Okay, you can also find the way to print that under the right here. Well, was it here? Right here. This is under the core training. So if you go into the blue core training one, which is also under courses.
Yes.
Okay, under block 1, it's your turn.
Yes.
That's
the assignment?
Yeah, the assignment. That's what you're doing. So this will guide you as you follow through. And then all of these things are hyperlinked. So you can click on them and it'll take you exactly where they want you to go. So you can click on this, it'll take you there. Everything is kind of hyperlinked from here. And then it tells you the print option for the architectural scales where you can print the sample architectural scale here.
Okay.
You don't have your own scale. That's what they were showing you and how to fold it. And then there's an online version here, which please do not ask me to know how to use that because I don't.
It's okay.
I mean, it would probably tell you, but I've never used this, and it's check this against the scale. I mean, I guess you hold something up next to it, but you have to make sure you're at the 100% scale, and I don't know. Not really sure. That one's different for me. So it does say scale rulers, but I got to tell you, I've never had to use that before, and I've not been trained on how.
Okay. And what is the community?
The community is right here, and that's where you're going to post about yourself. So if you click on community, you should be able to find that there's one that says GA 011121 will be your community group.
GA.
I think it says GA because it's the date. So it's January 1st or January 11th. You scroll down, GA 0111111111, whatever. Winter.
Okay.
Lots of ones. Okay, that one is our community, and that's where you're going to post about you. And then there's also, it tells you again in the here what else to post. But if you go in with your group right now, they should be working on activity 1.2 so that you can do it together.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. And if you please send us an email, or you can text me or her if you have any more questions. We're happy to help.
I do have one, but I'll email you definitely.
Okay. Go for it.
Thank you.
Sure.